drafters, we're here to update the Peasant cube that we put together to use on Arena to draft with friends and things like that, with the cards from Kaldheim that we think are going to be really good improvements to the draft format that we've got there. If you've drafted with it before, hopefully you think these are going to be positive changes. I've put a link to the draft cube on Cube Cobra down below. You can quite easily import that into Heroku, and you should be able to draft with friends quite easily and then craft the decks using only your common and uncommon wild cards in Arena, which is quite nice. First up, we're going to go through in colour order, and first of all, we're going to have a look at white. So white, I'm only dropping 2 cards, and I'm dropping Silver Flame Squire, which is quite a good adventure card, but I think we've got a couple of better cards to put in, and also Quende, Pride of Ferreth, because I don't think it quite does enough in what we're doing, although it's a pretty cool card, and I do like the legendaries in the cube. We're replacing them with Clarion Spirit, which has proved to be an absolutely amazing card in draft. And hopefully, even without the foretell stuff going on, we'll be able to get a double spell thing going on with Clarion Spirit. It'll go well with flyers, and it'll also go well with the kind of red-white aggro deck as well. And also Stalwart Valkyrie for very much the same reasons. I think it's a really strong card, really interesting interaction, and it doesn't really rely on any particular mechanics from Kaldheim, so it's a really good card on its own. Going into blue, I'm dropping Umara Wizard, Caliphate, and Saloon Division. Saloon Division just was a bit of a nothing card. I put a lot of DFCs in, MDFCs in, because I thought they were pretty interesting, but Saloon Division is definitely one of the less good ones of those. Caliphate, it's a cool card. I think it's an interesting card, but it's not doing a huge amount, but we are losing another legendary. And Umara Wizard, again, MDFC, that isn't really doing a huge amount. Replace them with a Giant's Amulet. I really like the cycle. I haven't put them all in, but it's going to be a few more. We're going to see a few more of these coming up in later colours. Also put a Mistwalker. I think the Changelings are a really good addition to what we've got going on here. And if you've got a little bit of tribal synergy here and there, maybe it's Elementals, maybe it's Warriors, whatever, then Mistwalker can help towards any of them. And lastly, Behold the Multiverse, shown to be a great card. Foretell works really pop, and it can really help fast and slow decks alike. So I think these are 3 really strong cards that are coming in, and ones that have been proven to be really good in draft. In black, we've got quite a few changes here. We've got a total of 6 cards that we're changing around, taking out Lurking Deadeye, Yargle, Zoth Consumption, Mutual Destruction, Palaka Perdition, and Thallid Omnivore. And for all, I'm not really kind of doing like for like changes in this. I do think that Jarl the Forsaken is a bit better than Lurking Deadeye. I think that we've got Way Down, which is a pretty good replacement for Mutual Destruction. I think Skull Raid's a pretty good replacement for Palaka Perdition. Feed the Serpent is just a really good removal spell, and Drogo's Helm is another one of these, I think they're called Living Weapon equipments, which proves to be really, really good in draft, and it can help, again, aggro and slower strategies. So I think that's a really powerful addition, and for all we love the Yargle, it's, Drogo's Helm is probably a little bit more powerful. Sorry, memes. Going on to red, taking out a few cards, Stormfleet Pyromancer, Sparkling Dragon, League Guildmage, and Jaya's Greeting. The bottom one here is probably, it took a lot of thinking. I'm still not convinced I made the right decision. I can't really think what else I could have taken out in red. But Demon Bull is a great, well, not necessarily strictly upgrade, but I think it's a better card overall. I'm also putting in Dwarven Hammer, the third of these equipments. I haven't put the white or the green one in, but I did really, really consider them. The Dwarven Hammer is an absolute monster in draft. It makes a threat you got to deal with quite quickly, and also that hammer can be put on any creature, whether it's a flyer, whether it's just an aggressive creature, and make it into a real threat. Basalt Ravager, great removal spell. It's probably just better than Sparktongue Dragon. I think the mana cost on Sparktongue Dragon was a little bit steep, so Basalt Ravager works a bit better potentially, and we'll have to see how it goes in a set which isn't built around giants, but it's also a wizard, so we can have some wizard synergies in there. We've got that in the red-blue archetype. And Dual Strike, it's an uncommon version of this spell, and I think, especially with Foretell and the spells archetype and things like that, it could be really interesting, even if it hasn't really popped in the format of Kaldheim. At the bottom here, we've got the green cards, so I'm taking out Tangled Flora Hedron, Silverback Shaman, and Vastwood Fortification. Vastwood Fortification didn't do a huge amount. Masked Vandal, it's another changeling. It's got a really key and useful ability when it enters a battlefield to exile artifact or an equipment. I've got Silverback Shaman for Cerul's Packmate. Cerul's Packmate, best common in the set, potentially. I'm not sure. There's been some back and forwards. And Path the World Tree. It is interesting fixing, and it's a nice little build around if you can get a little 5-colour bit of stuff. Going into some gold bits and pieces and some artifacts. Taking out Undercity Uprising, Clan Guildmage, Ral's Outburst, Scuttlegator and Alloymere. I don't think these really did a huge amount in general going through them. I was tempted to put in Finn with Undercity Uprising, but I was wanting to put some other bits and pieces in. Going in instead, Banner of the Old Gods. That's pretty much a 1-for-1 replacement, and I like what that does. It also helps you fetch up the some forests and things like that. Svala Ice Shaper proved to be an absolute house. The snow doesn't really matter with it, so it's not kind of isolating itself. Aegar the Freezing Frame, probably not as good outside of the Kaldheim format, but it's still going to be really good. Morita the Frost is going to be great. It's a nice clone effect, and you also get a bit bigger. And Gold Vein Pick, I'm just interested to see what this does outside of Kaldheim. On top of all of these, I've also taken out the 10 tap lands and I've replaced them with the snow tap lands. Not so much because of the snow, that doesn't really come into it, but I've replaced them because they've got that type, and then you can fetch out forests and things like that, and they're just a little bit more interesting lands to be putting in the cube. I did consider putting them in instead of other things, but I think we've got enough fixing there overall. So, what do you think of the changes that we've made? I'm really happy to have made these, and I think it's going to make things that little bit better. Nothing huge, no huge changes. I think it's still going to be roughly the equivalent power level, but I'd really like to know what you think. If you manage to draft it, let me know how it goes. It is an absolutely fun draft. I haven't managed to draft it in this version yet, so I'm really looking forward to being able to do that. Thanks. Bye.